aerospace and defense manufacturing,
machines and automation,
additive manufacturing,
smart manufacturing,
the global manufacturing economy.
Welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals, powered by SME. From the design screen to the shop floor to final assembly, we drive the conversation about making manufacturing smarter by connecting people who are passionate about manufacturing.
Hello, and welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals. I'm your host, Steve Plumb, Editor-in-Chief for SME Media. I'm joined today by Andrew Parker, the Director of Governmental Affairs for the Arkansas State Chamber of Commerce. In 2015, Andrew became the Executive Director of the Associated Industries of Arkansas Foundation and founder of Be Pro, Be Proud, a state and nationwide grassroots effort designed to address the skills gap by changing the narrative about high-wage, high-demand skilled professions in Arkansas's manufacturing, construction, transportation, and utility industry sectors. So welcome to the program, Andrew.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit more about the impetus for starting Be Pro, Be Proud.
You bet. The Arkansas State Chamber, like other state chambers across the country, is the entity representing business intended to improve the business climate for companies large and small across a variety of sectors. I joined the State Chamber lobbyist team in 2012, and after our 2013 legislative session, we began a listening tour of prospective members, current members, legislators to report on legislative success, but also set the table for what was ahead. And every company involved in every roundtable that we hosted from every community, large and small, hijacked the conversation away from us because the only thing they wanted to talk about was a skills shortage, the lack of talent that was interested in careers that they were offering high wages for, a large number of people that were exiting their teams that were most relied upon for a lot of these technical skill sets, and also a disconnect that existed between them and education. Certainly a overstatement. All things aren't the same, but generally speaking, there was a disconnect between the delivery of technical education and the needs of companies across a variety of sectors. So we began a legislative push to try to pursue legislation that would improve the delivery of technical education. Presented that in 2015 when our next general session took place, and was met with a lackluster response from policymakers and, generally speaking, our educational brethren who were also working at the Capitol to find ways to improve the way that education was being delivered. And so, a long story short, we began the effort to try to change the people who's really needed to be part of the conversation, which is the individuals who would become the pipeline of talent, and then those who govern their decisions. So Be Pro, Be Proud was born with a mission to change the perceptions that students and then those that really govern the decisions or guide the decisions that they make about what's ahead, and predominantly are their parents or guardians and their educators. What we had discovered throughout a number of meetings across the state and focus group work is that there was a huge absence of clear understanding about what these career opportunities looked like, felt like, responsibilities, wage opportunities, and where they're located. And solving and providing that information in an engaging way might help solve that problem.
So tell us a little bit more about the program. Once you got it up and running, what does it entail? You actually go out to the schools and meet with students, taking various equipment out there to expose them to the technical careers?
Well, and none of this is ever done alone. We've had a number of folks who've been part of the conversation with us for a significant period of time. There's a PR firm here in town that really helped guide our efforts to better understand how do we effectively engage with a young audience. Generally speaking, the people that we represent are not part of a young audience. So there's a disconnect of how do we say the things that need to be said in a way that's compelling. And ultimately, the message certainly is important, but also important, even more so, is delivering the message in a way that would engage the audiences in a very effective way. And our solution for that was working on producing a mobile workshop. First of it was a 40-foot gooseneck trailer that had 6 stations on board that were fairly elementary in the delivery, but allowed students to put their hands on the kinds of things they might encounter if they go into a profession of high demand across the sectors that we promoted: manufacturing, transportation, construction. Later added the utilities and then others after that, and did not know what to expect. But the response when we launched in March 2016 was nothing short of remarkable. Educators lined up, students were very interested, and we constantly heard from teachers who constantly complain about cell phone use in the classroom, who then told us every student that they've had has put that phone away and has engaged in these simulators, many of which are virtual reality or hands-on things. And it generated a conversation with us and with their teachers that continued beyond that mobile workshop experience, related to the types of things that they might encounter and opportunities that they might pursue, both working for people or going to start their own business. So the delivery is as much important as the message, because it has continued to this day to be a highly sought after experience.
So what grades are you targeting? Are you working at middle schools and high schools, and you go back to the same school district to maintain a relationship with the students and the educators over the years?
Yes, middle school and high school students make up the bulk of our tour activity. 13 to 18 is that primary audience. We do end up going back to see educators and those students and other students almost year over year. But frankly, since we've launched, and since it's launched in other states, the demand has far surpassed capacity year in and year out. We have a lot of really engaged educators, administrators who do invite us to come back. For purposes of scale, there's about 175 school days in a calendar year. That changes based on which state you're in, but generally speaking, that's a pretty good average. And we are engaged visiting a middle school or a high school or a 2-year campus about 80% of that calendar, of that school calendar, which is about 100 to 140 school days per year. So ultimately, we are not able to see every teacher every semester, but every time we have a experience, the teachers are coming back to sign back up as soon as that experience is over.
You mentioned demand surpassing capacity and resources, I would imagine. Where do you get funding from?
Well, we have been blessed with a tremendous amount of industry support for several states that are currently active, and for the first few years of our existence, we relied pretty heavily on support that came from those that are in these sectors, from the member associations similar to the state chamber in trucking and construction and utilities, and now forestry, and we've got some others. That has produced a significant amount of support. Since about 2022, about 5 years after we got off the ground, the state of Arkansas, in our case, came to us and said, "You've demonstrated that this thing works, that it's not going to be here today, gone tomorrow kind of experience." And then the state investment began. We've also had a little bit of federal support come our way, and interested in that opportunity potentially coming in the future. But generally speaking, the support is first from the industry and second from the state.
Any big national partners that you can mention?
Well, SME is a partnership we're very excited about. We're continuing to evaluate all the things for all sides, but it's a reflection of a great organization that we are excited about potential future with because there's such great alignment. Other partners that we have is the Build Submarines campaign and Blue Forge Alliance that is designed to help build our maritime industrial fleet for our naval resources. And we've got several other national partners. Weyerhaeuser is a national partner, and continue to work on some others.
Of course, education and workforce development is a key part of our mission, so we're definitely happy to partner with you and enthused about that. In terms of going out and meeting with the students, what resonates with them? Are you finding is the technology, the potential for a good paying career? Are there certain types of students that are gravitating towards this?
Interestingly, there is not a specific set of students that gravitates to it more than another. I think it's easy to think about an effort that is designed to help build a technical workforce as those that are CTE students and leaving it to those students or students that are not performing well in school. The great reality is that we've seen over and over again is that there are students who are valedictorian candidates who are just as engaged as the kids that are in CTE or the kids that are, barely hanging on in a classroom. The evidence continues to come in that's independently verified that demonstrates that this is a tool that leads to a lot of opportunities. If you just look in the manufacturing space across the course of history, many of the things that we enjoy today, many of the companies that are employing people today were started by individuals who were pursuing the very thing that we promote. These are opportunities to get through the door, but there is no reason at all that an individual stays in that role unless they choose to do so. In many cases, companies across this country are looking for the next stages of a succession plan. And because of the narrative that has not necessarily included the pursuit of technical careers as options of first choice, we have a gap in that talent pool. And those that are interested in pursuing these things today are going to be that next generation of fortune creators. So it's the student population, and it is the technology, it is the experiences, and then it's also the team members that we select very intentionally to be young enough to be relevant, but have experience that gives them credibility in front of a very scrupulous audience. They are very, students can smell baloney from a mile away, and therefore it has to be authentic. And I think that what we are experiencing from those students is certainly first, it's an exciting way to spend time, many of which do not understand exactly what's about to be presented to them, but they walk out having a different conversation in the classrooms and the hallways and in the sporting fields and with one another. What we've heard frequently and it's read through survey feedback from educators is that it has dramatically changed the nature of the conversation that they are encountering, and students who have not been very engaged in a classroom are awake for the first time, and it is not just by happenstance. It's happening in consistent numbers every year.
And now that the program has been up and running for 8 years or so, Can you share some of the success stories that have come out of it? And are companies offering internships or co-ops to students?
There's definitely been a change in the way that companies are engaging the workforce out of necessity. Lots of benefits being offered in places where when I was coming out of high school and pursuing what's next would have never thought possible. There's a whole lot of companies that are covering the cost for post-secondary education in a field that creates value for the companies. There's a lot of internships. There's a lot of summer work. There's a lot of really creative ways that employers are pursuing talent, again, out of necessity. There is anecdotal evidence as long as a football field from educators, from state government leaders, demonstrating that there are individually dramatic results that are occurring. We have had feedback from two-year college presidents that enrollments are increasing. We have had feedback from directors within departments of workforce services and departments of commerce that CTE enrollments at high schools is climbing. We've also had evidence from companies of hires that have been made and from families who've spoken about the impact it's had on their kids and the futures that they're pursuing. And we've also heard from the candidates themselves that the experience on these workshops, these big custom trucks, has helped guide the decisions that they're making about the particular field they're pursuing. All of that is anecdotal. We are working to identify ways to very constructively and independently verifiably identify student experience, post-secondary education, post-secondary career that's all related to that onboard experience. That's a very tall order and frankly one we have not been able to fully crack yet, but work's underway across a number of states to partner with state agencies to help figure out a way to do that. And I think we're able to have that kind of conversation and make those kinds of statements because the states where this is operating are very engaged and are witnessing the impact that it can have on a future workforce.
Yeah, it'd be great to learn more about that as those results come in. You referenced some other states. Obviously, the program started in Arkansas, but how many states are you in now, and what's the rollout goal to expand that?
We are currently operating in 6 states. Just to list them: Arkansas, Georgia, New Mexico, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. We have we will be launching in Alabama in February or March 2025, and we expect that we could be launching in Texas between March and midsummer or the beginning of the 25-26 school year. And there are conversations that we're having across a number of states that we hope are productive across the Northeast, Midwest, and the northern end of the West. So I think the reality is that this just works. There's an engagement that occurs. There's a unique response. And there's a lot of interest in buying in because it's all designed to provide value for all people that are involved. And, as we move forward, this is a national effort because of the states that are involved, and not the other way around. And I think it's an important distinction. Our goal is not to make every state look alike. Our mission is to produce the results in a meaningful way that resembles the states themselves and is led by the states themselves, in particular the member organizations, because if this is a long-term effort, And the only way it can be a long-term effort is if there is local ownership led by the business or industry leading organizations.
You're mentioning the importance of getting local industry partners. How can companies get involved in the program?
Well, and we'd love to do so. So our website is beprobeproud.org, and you can Google it. We have a page that's for each active state. There's pages for those states that have signed but have not activated yet. My contact information is available throughout, and there's also on the beprobeproud.org site a way to learn more, to bring us to your state, and to become a partner, all things which we love to see come through. So to also learn more about it, we're on all the social media sites that students can be found, with the exception of Snapchat. We haven't gone there yet, but we can find us on Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram and on Facebook. Again, emails, phone numbers, websites.
Great. Well, Andrew, thanks for joining us today. Very interesting topic and extremely worthwhile effort. And to learn more about the latest manufacturing trends and hear more of our podcast, visit advancedmanufacturing.org.